Welcome to the Geeks and Creeks podcast, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports. We couldn't be more thrilled to kick off this exciting journey with all of you. In this podcast, we'll dive into everything from game recaps to news and hot takes. Whether you're a diehard fan or just someone looking to stay in the loop, there's something here for everyone. So grab your favorite team's jersey, settle in with some snacks, and let's get ready for an adrenaline-packed ride through the world of sports. Alright guys, we're back for another episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast, and who doesn't love it? Everyone does. I enjoy being here. Who doesn't, man? It's going to be a good episode. We have a great one for you, and I can't wait to get into it. How's it been this time around, guys?
It's been pretty good. It's a lot of wrestling these days, so been pretty busy with that.
I've been with wrestling. It just never ends. Like there's always just like a ton of shows going on.
Oh man, with the introduction to Saturday Night Main Event again, it's like there's 3 pay-per-views every month, and then there's a Saturday Night Main Event like every other month, which is practically like 4 pay-per-views. It's like 7 pay-per-views every 2 months. It's insane.
I mean, it's like you've basically almost got like, 10 to 12 hours a week of wrestling at this point.
Yep. That's actually why I used to call my blog the 13th Hour Pro Wrestling, because I was watching 12 hours every single week.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. So, all right, man. We used to do a show like a couple years ago. I couldn't keep up with it. We had a terrible format.
Yeah,
it was a bad idea. It was a terrible idea.
It was a good idea. It was bad execution. Let's put it that way. It was a bad idea with poor execution, to be honest with you. It was a good idea if that was our job. If we had nothing else to do with our lives but watch wrestling, it was cool. When you've got if you've got a full-time job plus everything else going on in your life, it was a terrible idea. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they say there's only enough time in the world for one great love. Not if that love is pro wrestling. There's not even enough time in the world for pro wrestling.
No, and it's worse now because then there wasn't this many pay-per-views.
I know.
Like I couldn't imagine trying to do that now. Like, all right, we're going to do one pay-per-view. One. Yeah. We got to pick one. We're not reviewing every single show. We can't physically do it.
Oh God, yeah.
So that moves us into our main event, the top 10 sports records that shall never be broken.
Nice.
There we go.
Hey.
We are each going to present our personal top 10 list of sports records that we believe will never be broken. And along the way, we have the ability to kind of steal records presented by the other two. And at the end of the evening, we will have a Geeks and Greeks top 10 list of records that will never be broken.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So let's...
I was really stoked when we came up with this idea. Like, this was one where it's like, there's so many different options you can go with, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I definitely appreciate being able to put in sports adjacent records. which are a good time. So I had a lot of fun with this too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun researching it. That's where my geekness comes out.
Yeah, you probably went a bit more off the beaten path than me and Tom did, to be honest with you. Me and Tom probably stayed a lot more like, I would say, I guess, standard with the records, or however you want to say it, or conventional. There we go. We'll say conventional.
Yeah, conventional.
Conventional is a good word. Let's start things off with Adam. Could you give us your number 10?
So my number 10 is one that I kind of randomly came across, to be honest with you. And mine is the all-time rushing attempts for a single game, which is held by James Morris, who ran for 45 attempts in a single game. And I don't think this will be broken just because of the way the NFL plays nowadays. I don't see any one person rushing for more than 45 times in a game. Now, I will say we had someone come close. Breece Hall, who is current and plays right now, did rush for 37, which is a lot closer than I thought someone would have in any current NFL game. But I just don't see anyone breaking 45 attempts in a game in this modern NFL anytime soon.
Yeah.
That's a high number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Pete, what is your number 10?
So my number 10, and I'm marking it as number 10 because I honestly think of my records, this one's the easiest to beat. But it's still, I think, pretty difficult. So from 1942 to 1945, the Chicago Cardinals went on a 29-game losing streak. And they have the longest losing streak in the history of the NFL. I mean, I think it's pretty telling that it hasn't been beaten by now, especially with as bad as the Bears have been. Or not the Bears, the Browns, the other B team. But with as bad as the Browns have been, I'm surprised it hasn't been beaten already. But still, 29 games, that's insane. No wonder the Chicago Cardinals are no longer in Chicago.
you know, I would have said the Lions would have beaten that one, to be honest with you.
You know, yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah, I think even Tampa Bay in their creamsicle era was not quite that bad.
No. I don't think they got to 20. I think they got close to 20, but they didn't come. I don't even think they came close to 29.
That's pretty bad. All right. So my number 10 is the Baltimore Bullet himself, Michael Phelps. And his record of 23 Olympic gold medals. Now, I say this will never be broken because he started going to the Olympics when he was 19 years old and then attended 4 consecutive Olympics and participated in up to 8 events in each one.
Yeah.
I think that is just the perfect storm of insane athleticism and good luck. I don't see anyone breaking this record anytime soon, especially when the second closest to doing it has only got 9.
He's got more gold medals than some countries have gold medals.
Yeah. Actually, the next closest is Katie Ledecky at 14.
Oh, gold medals?
Yeah, because I was actually looking at this one, too. I actually took him off for James Morris's record. But no, Ledecky's actually got 14 gold medals right now to her name.
Huh. Okay.
And she's only 30, so they're saying that she might be able to do it.
Okay.
If she medals at the next Olympics and goes to the next one after that.
Now they're going to try to take her gold medals because she's smoking weed, too?
Nah.
They don't do that anymore, right? It's not on the.
They'll say she's got some sort of unfair DNA advantage like Phelps did.
Right, yeah. His body produces a quarter of the lactic acid that everyone else does. That's a straight-up superpower. If that is real, that is a goddamn superpower.
They proved that Phelps actually did. Like, he had some sort of a thing where he actually had that, and it's like, that's just unfair.
He's the first X-Men, then. That's what it is.
So he is part fish.
Yeah.
So, Adam, what is your number 9?
So, my number 9, I guess, this is, technically 2, because I didn't feel right putting it in 2 different spots. But it's Jerry Rice's all-time receiving yards and touchdowns. Because I don't think anybody's breaking either one of these records, to be honest. Even with the way the NFL is going, I don't see it. I just don't. And so for receiving yards, he has 22,895 yards. The next closest right now who's active is, that's active that has a chance, because Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins are still technically active, but those dudes ain't doing nothing anymore. So the next guy that's active that I think would have a possible chance is Mike Evans. But he's got 12,684. So he needs 10,000 more yards. So he needs 10 more seasons of over 1,000 yards, which maybe. He might, but I don't know, man. We'll see, but I just don't see it happening. And then for receiving touchdowns, he has 197. And Mike Evans has 105 right now. So he needs almost 100 more touchdowns. I just don't see it. Jerry Rice was a productive receiver up until age 42. I just don't see anyone in the NFL doing that. I don't know, man. Like I said, I didn't really want to give him two different spots, so I kind of combined this into one. So,
and plus it doesn't.
Jerry Rice, just nobody's going to beat Jerry Rice.
And plus it doesn't hurt when you have two Hall of Famer quarterbacks throwing to you.
Yeah.
Pete, your number 9.
So my number 9, I'm going to be staying with a full team record. I'm also going to be staying in the city of Chicago, and even in the decade of the 1940s. So specifically in 1940, the Chicago Bears set the record for the most points scored in a single game by a single team by beating the Washington Redskins at the time, 73-0. So I think, it's definitely the biggest spread. It's also the most points a single team has ever scored. Again, I put these in kind of order of how I felt they might be beatable. This one, a little less beatable, I think, than the 29-game losing streak.
Yeah. I don't even know if a college team could do that today.
It would have to be such a mismatch.
Right.
All right, so my number 9, I am shifting sports over to baseball. Now, in the Major League Baseball, only 35 pitchers have ever had 2 no-hitters. And of those 35, 6 have had 3. And of those 6, 2 of them have had 4 or more. One of them is Sandy Koufax at 4, and the other one is Nolan Ryan, who didn't have 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 no-hitters.
Damn.
And so, my record is Nolan Ryan's 7 career no-hitters.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Adam, you're number 8.
So, my number 8 is going to be shifting sports as well, but mine is going to be going over to hockey.
Ooh,
and mine's going to be Martin Brodeur's all-time wins record for goalies at 691. And second was Marc-Andre Fleury, who actually just retired at the end of this NHL season, and he had 500 and he just retired. And then the next active player who's closest has 429 at this point. So Brodeur played for, I think, was close to, if not over, 20 years, and I think holds pretty much, if not all of the all-time goalie records in the NHL at this point. So, but yeah, I don't see anyone beating that. And I also tried to kind of stagger mine to how beatable I thought they were as well. It got hard after a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Pete, your number 8, please.
All right. So like I said, we're doing sports adjacent, so it's time to get weird. The year is 2009. The venue is the WWE Royal Rumble. Santino Marella's music hits. He excitedly runs down the ramp, slides into the ring, Kane hits him with a lariat, drops him right over the top rope in 1.9 seconds. The shortest elimination in the history of the Royal Rumble, as Santino screams, "I wasn't ready! I wasn't ready!" Fantastic. I love Santino Marella. He's a national treasure.
Was that the same Rumble that he came out for the Women's Rumble, too?
It might have been. Because, yeah, I think so. That was around the right around time. I'll have to look it up. Let me check.
I know I think he was the first and only guy to ever come out for the Women's Rumble, because he came out in like a blonde wig, didn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't blonde. It was like a Cleopatra wig. And he called himself Santina Marella.
Yeah.
20.
Oh.
No. Yeah, that was 11 years later.
Okay.
Look at that.
I didn't know he was still in WWE at that point.
Neither did I.
Wow. He had stayed there way too long.
I didn't realize Beth Phoenix was in all the way up to 2020. That's nuts. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to my number 8 is our first crossover of the evening with the amazing Jerry Rice with 22,895 career receiving yards.
Yeah.
There you go.
Everything Adam said. No notes.
I mean, how much more is there to say when a man's putting up almost 1,000 yards at 40?
Yeah, and when
no one else has done. Nobody else has done that. I don't think. I don't know of any other receiver that's put up almost 1,000 receiving yards at 40.
The closest anyone has come so far is Larry Fitz at 17,492, and that was over 17 seasons. And then when you take into account the average career of a wide receiver is less than 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Good luck. Anybody who thinks they can break it, good luck.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice is a true national treasure.
How many national treasures are we going to have on this list here?
I'm guessing about 30.
I don't know. How many did Nick Cage steal in that movie?
Oh, heck. Adam, you're number 7.
All right. So my number 7 is going to be my first basketball unbreakable record.
Here we go.
And this is going to be John Stockton's all-time assist record.
I knew it.
Which right now sits at 15,806. And ironically enough, the second place is the active player as well, who's Chris Paul, with 12,499. And that's the next closest. They're 3,000 away. And that's the next closest with active, and he's already over the age of 40. He's not even going to be close.
He's got a long way to travel if he's going to get that.
And it's just one of those things where John Stockton was one of those guys where he played for 20 years, and he played 82 games a year. Like, I think over the 20 years, he missed a total of, like, maybe 20 games.
Yeah.
Like, he missed maybe a game or two a year. Like, there were so many seasons where he played every single game. Mm-hmm. And he averaged 10 to 12 assists every single season for 82 games. Like, I mean, dude just racked up assists, and he has the all-time steals record by a mile. Same thing. Like, dude was just an absolute Iron Man for the game. So, I mean, this is one where I don't see this really ever being broken.
No.
So.
All right. Pete, what is your number 7?
Before I give you my number 7, I got to point something out because I'm a child. That totally says John Stockton, 15,806 career ass. So I didn't know he was a career ass. All right, so my number 7, we are going to stay in the realm of professional wrestling. And I say realm because here we are talking about Mae Young. So in 2010, Mae Young set the record for the oldest person to ever wrestle a wrestling match. She was 87 years old, almost 88, about 100 days away from being 88. So we're going to say 88 because it's wrestling and who cares. So at 88 years old in 2010, Mae Young set the record for the eldest person ever.
I was going to ask you if you would be willing to slightly modify this.
Alrighty.
To the longest wrestling career at 71 years and 3 months.
There you go. That works too.
Because she started wrestling when she was a teenager.
Yeah. Hey,
She's got a Flair beat for the longest career. That's impressive.
Right? Career stability.
Yeah. That's somebody else I thought was going to die in the ring. I figured Ric Flair was going to die in that ring, to be honest with you.
Man, he came out on AEW this week. He's so old.
I had Ric Flair pegged as dying of a heart attack in the middle of an interview. He just goes, woo, and then falls.
I mean, that's how I figured he's going to die in the ring, to be honest with you. I figured he's going to woo on the top of the turnbuckle, then fall over dead.
I could see that.
Right? Where he gets tossed off the turnbuckle, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright, so my number 7, I am going to slide into basketball. But mine is an absolute legend that is responsible for so many rule changes in the NBA that just by virtue of his abilities, he has more than a few of these records that will never be broken. But I'll start with Wilt Chamberlain's 50.4 points per game season average.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, this is only been attempted by a gentleman named Tiny Archibald with 46 points average, and he is 8th place. I said 8th because Wilt Chamberlain holds 1 through 7 of these records.
Jesus.
Yup.
And I'm sorry, I'm getting these wrong. Michael Jordan is the closest one with 37 points per game, and Jordan is 5th on the list because Wilt holds 1 through 4, and then I think like 6 through 9.
That's insane.
Yeah, when Michael Jordan is 5th on your list, that is a testament to this ability.
That's like the kid that works at the video game shop and just plays the same arcade game every day. And his entire leaderboard is filled up except that one Michael Jordan in the middle, and he's just desperately trying to knock it off.
Yeah. Pretty much. Which is funny because when you look at, I think it's all-time points per game, or there's another one where it's like career, not even career, but there's a different points per game stat, and it's like Michael Jordan leads. I think it's including playoffs and a bunch of other stuff, but like Michael Jordan leads it like just barely over LeBron and everybody else. And it's kind of an interesting way they do the stats. But yeah, like Wilt's one of those guys where there's so many different records of his that will never be broken.
Yeah. And I tried desperately to not make this the top 10 Wilt Chamberlain records.
Yeah. You could almost make this entire list just a Wilt Chamberlain list.
Nice.
Hey guys, what's up? Before we continue our show, I want to talk to you about our new sponsor, Dubby. You ever feel like you need that extra oomph to power through those late night study sessions, clutch those game wins, or finish that epic video edit? I know I do, and I finally found something that actually works without the jitters or the dreaded crash. Let me introduce you to Dubby. That's right guys, we're partnering with Dubby and we're seriously hyped. Dubby is our new go-to energy drink, and it is a total game changer. What makes it so different is, first off, and this is huge for me, W has no artificial dyes, plus it's all completely sugar-free. So, you don't get that quick energy spike followed by a massive crash. And the taste is absolutely amazing. W comes with a bunch of different flavors, such as Tiger's Blood, Green Apple, Strawberry Pineapple, plus limited time offers that do go quickly. I'm currently obsessed with the Tiger's Blood myself, but they're all really good. Alright, so how do you get your hands on this stuff? Head on over to w.gg and use our code GEEKS10 for 10% off your entire order. That's w.gg, dubby.gg. Seriously guys, go give it a try. You won't regret it. We love this project, and I'm sure you will too. It's definitely been a game changer for us, and I'm stoked to be sharing it with the rest of you. Now, let's go ahead and get back to our show.
Number 6.
So my number 6 is a repeat player that is on here. It is not a Wilt Chamberlain record. Okay. But my number 6 is a Nolan Ryan record.
Oh.
Okay.
So mine is Nolan Ryan's career strikeout record.
Yep.
So his career strikeout record is 5,714. And just to put it into perspective, second was Randy Johnson with 4,875, so he's just shy of 1,000 behind him. And the closest active player is at 3,456.
Jesus. Nowhere close.
No, and again, Ryan's one of these guys where he played for almost 20 years, which for a pitcher that could throw close to 100 miles an hour back in the 80s, to play for 20 years consistently throwing like that, it's insane that he could play for that long and just rack up these kind of strikeouts. And so, yeah, this is one of those where I don't see anybody coming close to this. And especially now where guys don't pitch that long. Like, just innings-wise, they don't pitch that long.
Yeah.
Well, heck, the pitcher you mentioned in second place, Randy Johnson, he played for 27 years and still is 1,000 short.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that the beginning of Randy Johnson's career did not start off well.
Oh, that's true.
He started off pretty bad at the beginning of his career. It took him like a good 4 or 5 years to really get going. Maybe even longer than that. Like at first, because he didn't start well, so that's also a big part of it. I think had he started off better, he probably would have gotten closer. But like his true dominance wasn't until like 37. He wasn't really dominating Major League Baseball till his late 30s, which is crazy to believe. Like he went on this 4-year run from like 98 to 2001, where he won the Cy Young 4 years in a row. In one of those years, he had like a 1.2 ERA, and it was insane at the age of like 37. Like it did like late 30s, had like a 1 ERA almost.
I'm just imagining a professional ball player. Just wait till my mid-30s when I really hit my stride.
Yeah. 6'11" left-hander, just throwing gas.
Pete, who is your number 6?
All right. Hang on 1 second. My number 6 is... Okay, so we're going back into the world of NFL. And on Christmas Eve in 1995, Don Shula, coaching the Miami Dolphins, coached his last win for the team. He now has 328 regular season wins. I personally don't think anyone's going to be able to top that one. The closest person that I see having a chance is Andy Reid. But honestly, like Andy Reid is 64? 67 years old, and he's already only got 273. So he's going to have to be... No, that's not right. Yeah. So he's going to have to be in the league for at least 4 or 5 more years in order to even sniff that record. And at that point, he's going to be in his mid-70s. I just don't see it happening.
I'm surprised Belichick didn't get closer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I am too.
like that 20-year run in New England, he didn't break that record. I mean, I know it's weird because it's like the only 16 to 17 games. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
This actually just fell off my top 10 list, and I have Andy Reid as the closest, followed by Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. But Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are more than 100 behind Andy Reid.
Yep. Yeah. Behind Andy, not Don.
Yeah, behind Andy.
He was like 50 behind Don.
Tomlin's a lot. At least Tomlin's younger though.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Tomlin's got some time to make up for that though. And if you're consistently winning 8 to 9 games every year at the bare minimum,
yeah,
he might do it.
Good luck to you, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
But moving on to my number 6, I can't leave basketball without hitting one more Wilt Chamberlain record. And this one is literally the one where 8th place is Tiny Archibald, because Wilt Chamberlain holds the first 7 positions for minutes per game average for a season at 48.5.
Wow.
Now, you may ask yourself, how can you get 48.5 average minutes per game when there's only 48 minutes in a game? Well, that's because he played every minute of every game and got 10 overtimes and played every minute of all of those overtimes.
That's insane.
He would have had insane. More, but he got 2 technicals and was ejected from the game, losing 8 minutes off of the record. But still, I do not see any player in today's NBA playing all 48 consistently for every game and being lucky enough to hit 10 overtimes in a season and play all the minutes of those.
And not a chance.
Not a chance.
Dude, guys can't even play all 82 games, period, let alone all 48 minutes of those games.
And or can't play 48.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, moving along, Adam, who is your number 5?
All right, so for mine, we're going to go back to the world of hockey. And this one is going to be Wayne Gretzky's all-time points record for the NHL, which sits at 2,857, which is impressive because a majority of those points came off assists, not even goals. Mm-hmm. And so Alex Ovechkin just broke his all-time goals record, which is really cool because they both played like the exact same amount of games in their career to break the record. So they even played the same goals amount, but Ovechkin wasn't really an assist guy. Gretzky was. So even if you take off Gretzky's goals, he still has the all-time points record, which is even more impressive.
Nice.
And so at second place is 1,921, held by Jaromir Jagr, who played over 20 years. And Sidney Crosby is next closest to active at 1,687. So, I mean, this record is just insanely out of reach for just about anybody. And this is why Wayne Gretzky is called the Great One.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So,
Pete, who is your number 5?
So this is my first crossover of the evening. And it was the exact same record as Tom started with, which would have been Michael Phelps for 23 gold Olympic medals. I guess we could say he also has 28 medals in total if we include his non-gold titles. So I also think that's kind of non-beatable. But yeah, other than that, we've said pretty much everything about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. My number 5 is, I'm trying to remember if, I don't think we've gotten to this one yet. In the world of baseball, stealing bases is hard. But this guy did it 1,406 times in his career. The Man of Steel, S-T-E-A-L, played for 24 years, and the only person who's even come close is Lou Brock with 2/3 of his career stolen bases, and I'm talking about the one, the only Rickey Henderson.
The great Rickey Henderson.
Great Rickey Henderson.
So
with an E.
I listened to a podcast, and they do a Christmas episode, and they don't call it Christmas Day. They call it Rickey Henderson Day because his birthday is on Christmas.
Nice.
So yeah, it's not Christmas Day. It's Rickey Henderson Day.
Hey, look at that.
And I'm like, I love it. Rickey Henderson's great. And apparently, I don't know if you've ever watched like interviews where guys talk about Rickey Henderson, but Rickey Henderson always talks about himself in the third person.
Oh,
So Rickey always calls himself Rickey. He never so he always talks about himself in the third person.
That's amazing.
And some of those stories are great. If you ever get a chance, go find some stories about him, like when he talks about himself, and they're just absolutely hysterical.
I remember an interview, and I wish I could remember what the pitcher's name was, but there was a pitcher who talked about playing against Rickey Henderson, and he said, I saw him, and then I squared up the batter, and then I looked back, and Rickey was gone.
There was another story they were telling, and they were like, the coaches were holding them, and they were holding them for the steal, and like you could tell with each pitch, Rickey was getting more and more pissed because he wanted to steal, because Rickey does. Rickey steals.
Rickey steals.
And so finally he just broke the sign and just stole anyway. And then yells over to the third base coach, I told you Ricky's going to steal. That's what Rickey does.
That's amazing. Oh, God.
So, Adam, who's your number 4?
All right. So, keeping on a theme of Tom's here, my number 4 is a Wilt Chamberlain record. But it is not the same as Tom's Wilt Chamberlain's record. So, we do have different Wilt Chamberlain records, which is great. I love it. Mine is an all-time record, so it's not even a seasonal record. This is Wilt Chamberlain's all-time rebounds record, which sits at 23,924.
Wow.
So, second place is Bill Russell, who came kind of close with 21,620. But when you look at the current active players, the closest is Andre Drummond with 10,981.
Wow.
So not even close.
Why is it that the conversation is not Wilt Chamberlain being the greatest basketball player of all time?
Well,
because Wilt Chamberlain didn't really win any championships.
Huh. Well, it's probably because he played in Philly.
He played in Philly. He also played in Golden State, too.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the biggest reason why people don't talk about Wilt as being one of the greatest ever, because he just didn't win championships. Because Wilt was always more worried about people liking him than winning.
Nah. Makes sense.
Aww.
So I think Wilt only won like 1 or 2 championships. That's about it.
Well, we like you, Wilt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also played for the Lakers as well.
Okay.
So, unlike Bill Russell, who won 11, but people still don't talk about Bill Russell as being the greatest ever.
So, Pete, who is your number 4?
So what I think is funny is the beginning of this list, we were joking about how we could just make this a Wilt Chamberlain list. And I actually have a different Wilt Chamberlain record than you guys have as my number 4. And this one's for my mom. So March 2nd, 1962, Wilt put up 100 games in a single, or 100 points in a single game.
Yeah, he did.
And my mother, bless her heart, knows nothing about basketball, but loves Philly sports in general. And whenever she hears a basketball player bragging about getting like 35 points in a game, she just goes, so what? Wilt got 100. And it's the most so matter of fact, and just like shrugs it off. And it's like, oh, man, somebody put up 52 points in the game. And my mom was just like, okay, that's like half of what Wilt put up.
And it's funny because we have games where guys have gotten in every 10s except 90. We have a 100-point game. We've had 80-point games.
Yep.
But we haven't had a 90-point game.
No 90-point game. That's the new sweet spot. You're never going to beat Wilt Chamberlain, so just shoot for that 91.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no one's ever beaten 100, and no one's... The closest, I think, was Kobe got 81, was the next closest. Yep. We've had some 70-point games recently. We've had like a 73 and a 75.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 4 is yet another crossover.
Oh.
The Great One himself with 2,857 career points. Like Adam said, Ovechkin got the points, but he's nowhere near the assists. And it's ironic as hell that Gretzky was an assist player who held the goals record for so long. And yeah, no one's ever going to catch that career points.
Yeah, it's the Great One, man.
Yeah.
Adam, who is your number 3?
So, number 3 is, we're going back to baseball here. And we actually talked about this we may have talked about it on a different episode or a different point. But mine is Barry Bonds' intentional walks record.
Yeah.
At 688 with, we talked with Albert Pujols' number 2 at 316, and the current active player who's closest is Freddie Freeman with 137.
Jesus Christ.
Nowhere close.
No, nowhere
it's 5
close.
times the amount. Like,
yeah.
What?
Right? Like, it's not even, there's no one that's ever going to come close to bear that intentional walk record. These 3, like my top 3, and there's no one that's ever going to break these records, I don't think. I don't think these will ever be broken. When I say unbreakable, these 3 are the first 3 I think of when I think of unbreakable records that will never be touched.
Yeah, because in order to get these kind of numbers, you have to inspire fear in an entire league of pitchers.
Yeah.
And I come back to, I've never seen anybody else other than Barry Bonds ever be intentionally walked with the bases loaded. No one.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen. I've never even heard of that happening to anybody else. Even in the history, I'm sure it has in the history of baseball, but no one ever talks about it other than Bonds.
Yeah, I mean the thing is
in the playoffs with the bases loaded, you intentionally walked him because you'd rather walk one run in than have him hit a grand slam.
Right. I mean the thing is it's not just about inspiring fear into every pitcher in the National Baseball League, but it's also about having a long enough career that you can have the front end build that fear and then the back end be long enough that they walk you 688 times.
Yeah.
Because you have to establish yourself as that good of a hitter first, and then they start intentionally walking you, and you have to have a long enough career after that happens and still be consistently hitting enough so they don't switch. You're right. Yeah. There's no chance this is ever going to get beaten by anyone.
Yeah, you have to establish the fear, and then you have to maintain the fear.
Maintain the fear.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, who is your number 3?
Well, to establish the fear and maintain the fear, we're going back to 2013. We're at WrestleMania 29. We have CM Punk versus The Undertaker in The Undertaker's final win at WrestleMania. Well, not his final win, but his final win on the streak at WrestleMania, because unfortunately the streak was broken the following year. At 21 straight wins in WrestleMania, I think that is an unbeatable streak. I think the next closest, I don't think even hits double digits. I want to say it's Edge, and I think it's 6. So, I don't think that anyone will ever even sniff 21 wins at WrestleMania, let alone in a row. So
the fact that he was at 21 WrestleManias in a row was also amazing.
Right. That says a lot.
All right, so my number 3 is The King. And no, I'm not talking about Jerry Lawler.
I thought you were, actually.
I am talking about the King himself, Richard Petty, with 200 NASCAR victories. Now, I know you guys aren't much into racing, but to give you context, the only second place in NASCAR victories is a gentleman named David Pearson with 105. And he raced for over 27 years and just broke half of Richard Petty's win numbers.
I see why you call him the King.
Currently, there are 36 races in a season with 10 additional, like, with their playoffs. And Kyle Busch is the closest to breaking this record, and he's at 63.
Wow.
You know, I totally forgot about NASCAR and racing.
We did say sports adjacent.
No, we did. I just didn't even think about it, and then just totally skipped my mind.
I would push back about NASCAR being sports adjacent. It's a sport.
Kidding. I'm just kidding, buddy.
I know. But yep, that's my number 3, The King, Richard Petty. Adam, who's your number 2?
So this is, I think, the first time on my list where any of mine is a crossover where somebody else had it first. Because this is where I had Ricky Henderson's all-time stolen base record. Because I don't see anyone. Because again, this is where I think of like no one beating it. Because when I was looking it up, as Tom said, Ricky Henderson's stolen base record is 1,406. The next closest active player is Starling Marte with 347.
Jesus.
Like, they just don't steal bases anymore. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Like, there were dudes back in late 90s, early 2000s and stuff that, were closer. But, like, now, nobody steals bases. It's just not really a thing anymore. Like, Ohtani getting 50 was amazing because I didn't even know dudes could even try to get to 50 anymore at that point, or 40. But, yeah, 347 is the highest active stolen bases in the MLB right now.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So, you're more than 2/3 of the way away.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you got to think about that. To hit 1,400, you'd have to do 50 stolen bases a year, which is high numbers, for 28 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Especially
I think Ricky would get around 80 stolen bases right around the All-Star break every year.
Yeah, he was throwing crazy numbers.
So not only does it mean you have to be fast on the base path, you also have to hit because you have to be on base. So you had to get on base first. So not only do you have to be be able to run and steal the bags, you got to be able to get there first. Mm-hmm. And Ricky was leadoff because you wanted Ricky on base.
Now you sound like Ricky.
Oh, dude, dude, if you can ever find interviews with Ricky Henderson, dude, go find him. He's hilarious to listen to. He had such a unique way of talking, man.
Pete, who is your number 2?
So my number 2, I'd like to take you guys back. Think of February 2021. What were you doing with your lives? We're just coming out of the first initial funk of COVID, trying to figure out what life's going to be like again. The year had just turned. The president's changing. Everything is different. What does Tom Brady do? He wins the Super Bowl at 43 years, 6 months, and 4 days old against none other than Patrick Mahomes' Chiefs. That's right. He was the oldest person to ever win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
43 goddamn years old. That's insane. And as much as I hate him, and I can't even stand him on broadcast, Tom Brady is the GOAT. You can't deny it.
Yep.
Yeah, as much as I hate the guy, you're right.
Proving once and for all that it was Brady and not Belichick that made the Patriots. The Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
100%.
100%.
It is such karma that the Patriots completely disintegrated as soon as Tom Brady walked out the door.
I know. I love it. I love it so much. At the same time, I kind of wish Tom had disintegrated as well, but it is what he is.
But my number 2 is yet another crossover on our list. Adam beat me to it by 1. Barry Bonds, 688 intentional walks.
There you go.
It's not going to happen. You can't do that. There are too many pitchers who think they're God's gift to pitching and will not walk even when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But anyways, Adam, who is your number 1?
So my number 1 is one that I remember watching when it happened, and the broadcast team when it happened had said that we'll never see this record be broken, and I fully believe that we'll never see it. And that's going to be Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive games played in Major League Baseball at 2,632 games in a row.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, so Lou Gehrig was first until Ripken beat him. Lou Gehrig had played 2,130 games. And right now, the closest active player is Matt Olson, who has 644 games played currently.
Jesus.
Guys just, no one plays every day anymore. Nobody does in any sport. I mean, we just don't have these iron athletic athletes that play every day, every down, every minute. We just don't have it. So to see a guy play that many games in a row every season, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, with the NFL looking at going to 18 games, they're starting to talk about padding the rosters and making, sitting people, load balancing, even in the NFL, at just 18 games. And
I feel like with the NFL, you almost have to, though. Those dudes take such abuse and punishment.
I agree, though, but I mean, I'm going to go back to something I said a couple months ago, which is if your regular season is so long that your named starters can't play every game, then your season is too long. Yep. And if they're really talking about putting in load balancing at 18 games in the NFL, then they shouldn't make it 18 games. It's going to suck when you get Mark Sanchez instead of Donovan McNabb. It just is. And
right.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Middle of the season, all of a sudden, surprise, it's a preseason game. Who's going to want that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
And I know baseball is one of those where, I can't say I blame some of the players. 162 games where you play every day, that's got to be so hard on your body.
Oh, yeah.
Just that grind every single day. And but at the same time, it's what you're paid to do, man.
Yeah.
You're paid to come show up and play every day.
Right. I just had this terrifying thought of Philly fans expecting Donovan McNabb and getting Sanchez and just rioting.
Although I guess if it was supposed to be Donovan McNabb, your backup would have been what? Trent Peterson? Or Doug Peterson?
Doug Peterson was just his first year. His actual backup was A.J. Feely.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Sanchez was the very end of the year. And it was Sanchez and Vic, I think.
Yeah.
And it was I wouldn't really care then. That's why I went with McNabb instead.
Wasn't Nick Folk around for a couple years of Mike Vick, too?
Maybe. You mean Nick Foles?
Foles. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nick Folk was a kicker.
I think he might have been, but I think he might have been the number 3 at the time.
Oh, okay.
And then he stepped in after Vic.
Or am I thinking of Kevin Cobb?
Kevin Cobb is probably who you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Kevin Cobb.
So, Pete, who is your number 1 record that will never be broken?
So my number one record that will never be broken, we are going back to the world of professional wrestling, of course. And the year is 1908. It is February 20th, and we are at Madison Square Garden. We have in the ring Bob Backlund versus the champ, superstar Billy Graham. And Bob Backlund wins that match, wins the championship, and goes on a 2,138-day win streak, finally losing to the Iron Sheik in '83. He was the champ for 5 years and 10 months. There have been people who have come close, but in modern day wrestling, I don't think it will ever be possible. The best we would have had was Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns' title reign was only 1,316 days. So I don't think in modern day culture will allow a champion to hold the title for 5 years. Unless we're talking about like Athena over in Ring of Honor. But that's not a WWE championship, so it doesn't count.
Heck. Okay, so my number one is not a person. My number one is a team, specifically a college.
All right.
UCLA had 7 consecutive NCAA basketball championships in a row.
Wow.
Between the years of 1967 and 1973. Just imagine March Madness always ending with UCLA for 7 consecutive years.
That's crazy.
It just can't happen. It won't happen. It will never happen.
And you know what's funny is I think for 4 of those years was when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was on that team.
Yeah.
That may have had something to do with it. We can't be certain. Who knows?
Look, but even if it does, it's 7 years. Like, that's longer than anybody's college career. Like, even if you're talking a red shirt, the best you're getting is 5 years out of somebody. And they're not even playing the red shirt years. So you're still only getting them to play 4.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not saying he was there for all 7. I'm just saying, like, in 4 of those years, you had Kareem on that team.
Yeah.
At that point, it was Lou Alcindor.
So, real quick, would anybody like to steal some records for their list, make some last-minute changes, or is everyone kind of happy where everything landed?
I'm actually pretty happy with my list, to be honest with you.
I think I'm pretty proud of my list, too. I only want 40% wrestling, so it's all good.
All right, so the Geeks and Greeks final list. At number 10, we have a 3-way tie with, of course, Wilt Chamberlain's career rebound record, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point record, and Michael Phelps' gold medal record. Tied for the 8th position, we have The Undertaker's 21 WrestleMania undefeated streak and Richard Petty's 200 NASCAR victories. 7 has Tom Brady as the oldest quarterback. And then for a 3-way tie for 4th, Cal Ripken Jr., Bob Backlund, and UCLA.
All right.
And then coming into the top 3, we have Wayne Gretzky's career point record at 228.57. Ricky Henderson at 1406 career stolen bases. And the Geeks and Greeks, number 1, record that will never be broken, Barry Bonds, 688 intentional walks, and I absolutely agree.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd agree with that as well.
heck?
Oh man, these are always fun, dude. Like I like doing these. These are pretty good.
It's a good list.
But that brings us to the trivia section for a very short game I call Name That Team, Geeks and Greeks edition.
All right.
I will make a statement as one of the Geeks and Greeks teams, the Cowboys, Eagles, or Colts, and you need to tell me which team I'm talking as. If you're right, you gain a point. Most points at the end of the night wins. If the statement applies to multiple teams, I will accept any of the teams that this statement applies to. For the first question, and you will both answer, and then I'll tell you who's right. For the first statement, we were not part of Super Bowl V.
Super Bowl V. So the answer is either the Eagles, the Cowboys, or the Colts. Is that correct? All right. So I'm going to say it's the Eagles.
I think it's the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think the Colts are part of that one.
Well, you can only pick one.
I'll say Cowboys.
The answer is the Eagles, because Super Bowl V was Colts over Cowboys.
Hey,
really?
There you go.
I didn't know the Cowboys were in 5. All right.
Since 1970, we have been to the playoffs as a wild card 14 times.
To the playoffs.
That'd be Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Dallas or Philly because there's so often we trade who's winning it.
Trade the division / wild card.
Right, yeah. I do feel like Philly's probably won more of those, so I'm going to agree Dallas has probably been to more wild card spots.
With the Colts at 8, the Cowboys at 10, Philly has been to the wild card 14 times.
Wow.
Every home conference game we played, we've won, and every away conference game, we've lost.
Since,
conference game, you mean conference championship?
Yeah, conference championship.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm like, that's a very broad general statement. That's false for everybody.
Sorry, I should have been more specific. Conference championship game. If it's a home conference championship game, we've won. If it's an away conference championship game, we've lost every time.
I'm pretty sure that the 2003 season ended with the Eagles in the conference championship, and they lost it at home. And I'm pretty sure I was at that game.
I think that was the Tampa Bay one, wasn't it?
That was the Tampa Bay one.
Yeah, they lost because Tampa smoked them.
Yeah, it was awful. To be
fair, Tampa smoked everybody that year, so it wasn't just you.
Yeah. And I mean, that stadium was ass, man. Was
that the last year for the Vet?
That was the last game we ever played in the Vet. And the Vet, for those of you who never watched a game in it, it was like concrete with a slim coating of plastic grass on top of it. It was the worst field.
I mean, to be fair, that was really all domes and stuff like that back then. So if you played in any kind of a dome, you just played on top of concrete.
No, we were outside. The Vet was outside.
I know too, but I mean, if you played in a dome too, that's the way it was. It wasn't. You didn't have padding and turf.
Yeah, no, it was an awful stadium. People got injured all the time.
Everyone hated playing at the Vet.
Yeah,
everybody.
So who do you think this is?
I think this is actually the Colts.
I'm actually going to agree with you as well. I think it's the Colts.
It is indeed the Colts.
Yeah.
Hey.
They've only had 2 championship games.
Colts are 3-0 at home and 0-4 away.
Oh, wow. They've been in 7 championship games? I wouldn't have put them in 7.
Are you counting Baltimore as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
That
makes
Never
sense.
Mind.
We have a sub 500 record in the playoffs.
Is this Dallas?
Dallas has won, 2 playoff games since 1996?
Something like that. It's terrible.
But they've been to the playoffs a lot. They just lose all the time. So I think it is Dallas.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, for as much as they won in the 70s and 90s, they've lost a lot in the 2000s. So I'm actually going to say that this is Dallas.
All right. The Eagles have 29 and 26.
Hey, look at that.
The Cowboys are 36 and 31.
Ooh.
And the Colts are 23 and 25.
That's not. Hey, that's pretty close though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Statistical variance, that's all that is.
We have never had a winless season.
So,
And I'm talking ever.
I'm 99% sure that the worst season the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had was a 2-win season. So I'm going to say it was the Eagles.
Yeah, but I don't know if Dallas has ever had a winless season though. I honestly don't know the. I'll say it was the Colts back in the Baltimore days.
The Dallas Cowboys had a winless season in 1960. Yeah. In the last season, we had a 12-game season.
There you go.
And the Colts had a winless season in 1982 due to the strike canceling week 3 to week 10. We finished 0-8. But the worst the Eagles have ever done is 1-11 in 1936.
Yes, 1-11. That's right. There. That's one of the reasons the Eagles and the Steelers were picked to merge,
combine,
because they were the two worst teams in the NFL at the time.
We have never had a head coach for 14 seasons or more.
Well, I know Dallas is out because Tom Landry was there forever.
Oh, I want to say Andy is the longest tenured.
I think this is the Colts.
And how long was Andy with the Eagles? So he started in 99.
That's when McNabb was drafted.
Yeah. And then he went all the way until... when did he go until?
He went to Kansas City, a year or two before Mahomes?
Yeah.
Or did was he out of the league for a year or two before he signed in Kansas?
I think he was out of the league for 1 year, and then he signed with Kansas City when they still had Alex Smith. I'm gonna say it's Philly. I want to say he left the Eagles like 2010, 2011. So that would have put him there for like 10 or 11 years, and I think he's the longest tenured Eagles coach. So I'm gonna go with
the Colts. Because I think Buddy Ryan was there for a while, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
All right. Final answers?
Final answers.
Yep. All right. Adam is absolutely right. The Cowboys had Tom Landry, who was there for friggin' ever. I actually lost my mark, but it was like 20 years. If I can find it, I can tell you. Oh, there it is. 29 years between 1960 and 1988.
Yep, because they fired Tom Landry to bring in Jimmy Johnson.
And Pete's going to hate himself because Andy Reid stayed for 14 years from 99 to 2012.
99 to 2012. Well, that's 13 years.
If you count 99 and then 2012.
Oh, because of the seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the best the Colts have ever done is Tony Dungy for 7 and Shula for another 7. Even combined, it makes up one Andy Reid.
To be honest, I couldn't, besides for Tony Dungy and like a couple other guys recent, I couldn't think of any other Colts coaches. I'm like, I'm going to go with the Colts. But I can't think of a Colts coach other than Dungy, who was there for like 7. I'm like, I'm going to go with them.
You know, Tony Dungy's kind of a string bean, man. I don't think even combined they make one Andy Reid.
We drafted 3 quarterbacks in the first round that never became Pro Bowlers.
3 quarterbacks in the first round that never became
like of one draft?
No, overall.
Just total. Oh, okay.
Ooh. I mean,
I know. Okay, Aikman was a first round pick. He became a Pro Bowler. You mean just in general they've done it?
Yeah, in general, there have been 3 quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round that never became Pro Bowlers.
I think this stat's pretty personal. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's the Colts because you're pissed off about it.
Well, Richardson has yet to make a Pro Bowl. Trying to think who else recently. They haven't drafted a quarterback other than Richardson recently. I don't know, I'm going to go with Philly.
I mean,
I haven't taken a shot at Philly yet, so why not?
It does kind of feel like a Philly thing to do.
In 1972, Philadelphia Eagles drafted John Reeves, and that is their only quarterback from the first round that did not become a Pro Bowler.
Okay.
All right.
In 1989, the same year they drafted Troy Aikman, they also drafted Steve Walsh, who did not become a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, because he sat behind Troy Aikman his entire career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Colts in 82 drafted Art Schlichter. In 1990, drafted Jeff George.
I told you he was angry about it.
And then in 2023, drafted Anthony Richardson.
Man, it shouldn't count. He hasn't had a chance.
I mean,
He's had a chance. It's 2023. That's 2 years. Come
They
on.
picked
get
up
on.
Adam Jones, dude. Like, they're not
Adam Jones. You mean
Daniel Jones. Sorry, they picked up Daniel Jones. Like, they're not. He doesn't have a chance.
We shut a team out of a conference championship. It's the ultimate insult to injury.
We know this isn't the Colts because defense isn't their thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna. This feels very Dallas-y to me.
Does it have to be like in the 70s, maybe the 90s?
I mean, at the same time, like you were talking about the Buddy Ryan.
It feels like an 80s Eagles thing, man.
Yeah, gangrene.
Like I'm gonna say
man.
the Eagles.
I'll go Cowboys. We'll flip flop on this one.
All right, final answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
In 1978, the Cowboys shut out the Rams 28-0.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
That's the Rams. They don't even count.
And for our final question of the evening, our all-time scoring leader is not a kicker.
What? That's possible.
Didn't think it was until I started this question.
I think the Eagles' all-time scoring leader is David Akers. So I don't think it's the Eagles.
Actually, I'm going to go with Dallas because I don't think we've had a kicker around long enough to be the all-time scoring leader.
If you
They're
were to say
expendable.
right, if you
Yeah,
were to say
'cause-
Dallas's kicker, I could not tell you who he is.
Yeah, like, I mean, I couldn't give you anybody. Like, I mean, because when I think of Indies, I got Vinatieri, who was there forever.
Yeah.
Vaynerchuk was there for a while before him.
We don't
Yeah.
speak the name.
Vaynerchuk. No! Yeah, I'm going to go Dallas because, like I said, I can't think of a Dallas kicker.
All right,
No.
and Pete?
The only Dallas kicker I can think of is Nick Folk. And
Yeah.
he was there for like 2 years, and then he went to the Jets, I think, or maybe.
I mean, I can think of like Brandon Aubrey, but he hasn't been there long enough to be
Brandon
an all-time
Aubrey, yeah.
scoring leader. So it's like, I'm going to go Dallas.
You know, I think we're gonna go Dallas too. Yeah.
All right. Pete is absolutely correct. The Eagles' all-time point scorer is David Akers with 1,323 points.
Green
Makes
Acres
sense.
is a good place to be.
But
Dude was there forever.
but he's not quite up there with the Colts' all-time point scorer, Adam Vinatieri, at 1,515
Wow.
points. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys with
Yep.
Emmitt Smith at 986.
Seems right.
Fair enough. All-time rushing yards leader is also the all-time scoring leader. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But with a final score of Adam 2, Pete 5.
Woo!
Congratulations, Pete.
I crushed it. Let's go.
And before we go into final thoughts, I also want to say, speaking of crushing it, we have a new sponsor on our show. we want to welcome Dubby to the show. It is a new energy drink sponsor that we have. It is DUBBY. It's a new company that brings a new and more natural approach so you don't get that crash, which is great for any content creators like us, as well as streamers and Twitch gamers as well. And I've been using it for a while, and I'll tell you what, I love it because you don't have that crash. It's great for the end of the workday. Everyone has that, and I get that lunch period where you just have that crash and just kind of flame out at work. With this, I don't have that, and I love it. It's more natural. I can also pick and choose how much I want to take because it comes in a tub, and it's also not carbonated, which is great. So I love this stuff. It's helped a lot, and they have a ton of different flavors. I personally have been trying the Tiger's Blood, which is one of my favorite flavors. If you ever had any of the Tiger's Blood, like snow cones, basically the same kind of flavor. They've got things like mango, orange and cream, green apple, strawberry, pineapple, and many, many more. I love it. Go check them out at their website, dubby.gg, dubby.gg. You can also use our code GEEKS10 for 10% off your entire purchase.
Drink Dubby.
Yeah, it's a really good product. I love it. But I think that is about it for us this week, guys. Do you have any final thoughts we want to go into?
I'm going to say congratulations to Roxanne Perez signing with SmackDown, and then her debut match, she won against Tom's girl, Becky Lynch, a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So, shout out to women's wrestling. Roxanne Perez is amazing. You should watch her.
Do that. Just wanted to throw a quick shout out. June 12th to the 15th will be the U.S. Open at Oakmount, PA. Unfortunately, it's just outside Pittsburgh, so I can't ask Pete to go take pictures or anything.
Yeah, it's like 7 hours away, dude.
And on June
it's a short drive, right?
Yeah, through
just
the mountains.
across Pennsylvania. And on
you
June
just gotta
14th,
cross that middle ground to nothing,
The S-turds that go on forever.
And on June 14th, the FIFA Cup starts, so that should be fun.
Okay.
All right. Well, and on the same note, kind of in the same vein as Pete, and we'll stick with women's wrestling, I want to say hope to a speedy recovery to Zoe Starks, who just got injured for the fourth time in 4 years, another knee injury.
Yeah. Geez.
I'm starting to think that there's a pattern building up here and may want to change some things up in the ring.
Maybe they need to get her that Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace going on.
That ain't going to work when your entire body weight bends your leg backwards. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you need to find a whole new style of wrestling. That's
Yeah.
what that needs to be at this point, unfortunately. So good luck. We hope for a speedy recovery and see you in the ring soon, because we just haven't for a while, unfortunately, not consistently.
Yeah.
So we do not want to see her future endeavored, which is what I'm afraid is going to happen.
Indeed.
So, but that, I think, is going to be it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Geeks and Greeks podcast. Don't forget to check us out on all social medias at Geeks and Greeks. You can also check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. And you can reach us at email at geeksandgreeks360@gmail.com. Until next time, may the coin toss of life ever be in your favor. Later.
See ya.
Peace.